Greetings, everyone. My name is Steve McPhail, and I'm the Director of Studies at OET Online. And today in our PTE Prep video series, we're going to look at write essay. So in terms of format, as always, the instructions will appear on your computer screen. So it will tell you what to do. You'll have a text. That's the essay topic that you need to answer. And down the bottom, this is where you're going to actually input your answer. And it's got some functionality there where you can cut, copy, paste. That's very useful. And it's the advantage of a computer-based test. You can move things around and adjust your language as you go. Always good to practice this in advance so that you can feel comfortable with this technology. All right, so let's look at the details here. So the skills being tested. Well, it's writing, and it's the only PTE item that tests writing only. All the rest are writing, reading, writing, listening, and so forth. But this one is writing only. Hence, it's a very important part of the writing exam. You're only going to get one task on exam day. You'll have 20 minutes to complete it. And during that time, you've got to write between 200 and 300 words. Sounds a lot, doesn't it? It is, but with practice and a bit of flow and you get into the rhythm, it's achievable. What are the tasks going to be like? Well, all essay prompts require either a persuasive or an argumentative essay on a given topic. The typical prompts that you can expect include agree or disagree with a particular point of view. Perhaps you have to take one of two sides in an argument, or you might have to write about the advantages and disadvantages of a particular statement. All right, it's typical essay type material and structure. In terms of format, well, we just follow the traditional essay format, which is pretty standard. You're going to write an introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a short conclusion summarizing your viewpoint. Now, this is very important that you follow this structure, because if you go away from the structure, you may end up repeating yourself or losing marks for coherence and other aspects. And let's talk about that. So how are you assessed? Well, content is assessed. How well you respond to the prompt. So the computer algorithm will know if you're writing on topic or not. How do they do it? Well, they've analyzed thousands and thousands and thousands of prompts, so they know what good content is, and they can apply that algorithm. That's AI for you. Score range 0 to 3. Form's important with the essay. In order to get the maximum of 2 points, you need to write between 200 and 300 words. So that's just a no-brainer. You must do that. You write 120 to 199, then you're going to only get 1 point. Or the same applies if you write over 300. And if you're outside this range, you're going to get 0. So very clearly, you've got to aim between 200 and 300 words. And I would say 250 is a good even number to target. We'll show you how to achieve that shortly. You're also going to be assessed on development, structure, and coherence. So what do we mean by that? Well, the way you develop your argument, the structure, your paragraph structure, and coherence is important. That means the way that the information flows. It's all got to do with signal markers and other signal words that indicate transition between ideas. So that's very important. Grammar, well, we all know what grammar is. Sentence structure, verb use, prepositions and articles, the degree of accuracy that you write. Now, the general linguistic range considers your ability to express thoughts and ideas clearly and concisely. So it's connected to the vocabulary used, but making sure that that is an appropriate vocabulary for that specific time. It relates to collocation and vocabulary range, which is the next point. And again, that's academic, colloquial, and idiomatic expression, just your variety of language. Spelling, well, they're pretty vicious in PTE correct spelling, you get 2 marks. Hooray. Make one spelling error, you lose a mark. So there's no halfway mark down. You make more than one spelling error, you get 0. There's no spell check, so spelling counts in PTE. Strategies. All right, so how are you going to approach this? Well, you won't approach every task the same way, and not all students will approach or write an essay in the same way. As the classic expression says, there are many roads which lead to Rome. So you might take a different road, but as long as you get to your destination, you can score well in this part of the exam. Now, your goal is going to be to write a well-structured and well-organized letter, and we're going to demonstrate how to do that. Step 1, analyze the task question. So you got to read the task question carefully. That's your prompt. You can't write off topic or on a different topic. It'll be picked up by the AI technology. So make sure you understand what the topic is, and you can do that by identifying the keywords and writing them down on your erasable notebook so you know the topic. Then you look at the task question and what is it asking you? The most common examples are, to what extent do you agree or disagree with something? What are the advantages and disadvantages of something else? And so forth. Now, this is the example we're going to look at today. Some people believe that all commercial whaling should be banned, but others believe that it's acceptable to hunt whales within sustainable limits. That's our statement. What do you believe? Well, the question asks us that. Choose a position you most agree with and discuss why you chose that position. Support your view with details from your own experiences, observations, or readings. So we've got to choose a position. Should we ban whaling or should we allow whaling? That's our topic. Now, hopefully you've got some ideas on this sort of topic. It's fairly common. It's in current affairs. People are aware of it. So you should be able to generate some thought processes and put forward your position. Step 2, planning. Now, this is an interesting one. Some people just feel, I'm just going to start writing, but there's a problem with that, because if you want to develop a good structure with solid ideas, you really need to plan, and that's our advice. Without proper planning, you're going to need to stop and think on the way, and that's going to disrupt your flow, and you might lose your structure and organization. You might end up repeating yourself, and that's not going to go down well. The beauty of planning is it allows you to think of some solid ideas which you can write down and then expand on when you write your paragraphs. So think of it as an investment that's going to pay rewards later. And you will be able to write more quickly and logically once you have a plan. So decide your position. Think of an interesting introduction. Again, this is a skill that you have to develop and that links to your position. Then make a list of arguments and examples that support your position. Again, you only want to spend a few minutes on this because you've got to allow plenty of time for writing. So this is the timing. So if you've got 20 minutes, aim for 3 minutes of planning, 15 minutes to write. Sounds a lot, but with practice, it's very achievable. So 15 minutes to write your essay and then 2 minutes to proofread for errors. All right, now, meeting word length requirements. How are we going to do this? And again, look, you're probably going to have to write multiple essays to get good at being aware of your word length without actually counting every word every time. So what I suggest is your introduction, 30 to 50 words, quite a long, detailed introduction. Don't go too short on your introduction. Build up the anticipation of the reader, even if it is just a computer. Don't change, make it real. Your 2 body paragraphs can be 60 to 80 words each, and your conclusion, 30 to 40 words. So you can imagine if we put this together, we're going to end up with around 250 words, right? Because you've got your introduction, 50 words, 2 words, 60 to 80, if that's 75 words each, what's that's 150. So 50 for introduction, 150 for body paragraphs. We've already got 200. And then if we write a 40-word conclusion, then we're going to be about 240 words. We are looking good. So if you practice that approach, you won't get too stressed and the word length will fall naturally within the requirement. Okay, it's a couple of structures that we can show. This is one standard structure, and it's probably going to be 13 to 16 sentences long. You'll get used to this as you go. So the introduction, 3 sentences, and that's where you refute the arguments against your topic because you're choosing a position. So you can say, many people believe that whaling is unsustainable. However, then you refute it. I believe it can be sustainable if, and you give some reasons for your point of view. Then you expand in your body paragraphs. Give your first reason, lots of supporting details and examples. This will be 4 to 6 sentences. Reason 2, give a second reason with details. Again, 4 to 6 sentences. And then write your conclusion, 2 to 3 sentences. And you're going to leap back to that original statement in the introduction. Remember, in your conclusion, no new ideas. A common thing that people do, if they haven't planned, they forgot something and they add it to their conclusion. Not a good idea. You need to have your main ideas in your body paragraphs. All right. And of course, each task is different. So you need to react to the task on exam day and adjust your structure accordingly. All right, so let's choose your position. And here's another one, a different type where you have to evaluate both arguments. So for this structure, we might introduce the arguments for or against, but we're not giving our opinion at this point, just identifying what the arguments are. Body paragraph 1, again, 4 to 6 sentences. Put the arguments for with supporting details and examples. Then body paragraph 2, put the arguments against with supporting details and examples. So you're keeping it separate. Got the for and against. Then in the conclusion, based on that, that's when you can state your opinion. And that's quite a nice way to write because you've given the balance, you've showed both sides, and then you've been able to conclude and state your opinion. Similar structure, similar word length, practice this and you'll find it very useful. Step 6, cohesion is king. And you're going to see that in my example in a moment. Your essay needs to flow smoothly and the sentences and ideas need to link together naturally, and strategic use of signal words, therefore, furthermore, however, as a result, in conclusion. These sorts of words are very useful, but you don't want to overuse them. You've got to use them at just the right amount and where needed. Step 7, proofread. This is very important because you will have made some errors. The pen doesn't always follow instructions of the brain. So we may not be writing what we are thinking. So you need to double check that grammar, make sure that everything is accurate, including spelling and punctuation. All right, so let's look at a task and look at how we would plan a letter. So we've got our basic steps for timing, as we know. But step 5 here, compare your letter with the model letter. So when you do our practice tasks, after you've written the letter, then the model letter will appear. And that's going to be very useful for you because our model letters demonstrate a really good structure. It's going to be useful for your grammar, for your cohesion, for your vocabulary, and for your knowledge. So use these model letters as guides for your own writing. Okay, so introduction. All right, we're doing a bit of brainstorming here, and it's about whales, right? So we know our text. Some people believe that all commercial whaling should be banned, but others believe that it's acceptable to hunt whales within sustainable limits. Choose your position you most agree with and discuss why you chose that position. Support your view with details from your own experiences, observations, or readings. Okay, got our task. So, introduction. Well, we want to say something positive about whales. Whales are beautiful, beautiful creatures of the sea. Tempting to support a total ban. Many people believe there should be total ban, but you're not going to argue that in this case. But, so you've got a contrast there. And then a statement. Balance is the key. So you've got that thought process. We're going to put that in our introduction. Now, your main arguments. In the past, whales hunted mostly to extinction for oil, for lamps. There was exploitation and a greed for wealth by rich countries. This all happened. Then you've got this knowledge. But on the other hand, whales, they're a traditional part of the diet in some culture. Japan, Norway, the Inuit populations. We also know recently that whale numbers have recovered. Position, conclusion, therefore, yes, we can hunt whales. Yes, sustainable with strict monitoring. That's your caveat, as you will see. So that's the kind of idea of notes that you might write down in that 3 minutes. And then here is our letter, everyone. I'm going to read it, and then we're going to look at why this is a good letter and how you can actually write a letter like this. So whales are beautiful creatures that roam our oceans and are a very important part of the ecosystem. Right, it's a nice topic sentence there. It's a general sentence, no viewpoint given. As a result, it's very tempting to argue that these animals should be protected. However, this will have impacts on many traditional cultures that have a long history of hunting whales and using this resource for food, clothing, and other purposes. Therefore, I contend that a balanced approach is best, one that allows hunting, but only within sustainable limits. So there's your viewpoint, really, really clearly stated. I'll say it again. Therefore, I contend that a balanced approach is best, one that allows hunting, but only within sustainable limits. Now, we've got 4 sentences here. So this is really quite a detailed introduction. Now, you don't have to write 4 sentences like this one, but if you can, it's a good thing. And we've already got our signal words coming. So we're building our argument. All right, let's go for body paragraph 1. In the 19th century, many countries, such as the US and Australia, use their advanced technology to exploit whales to almost complete extinction. The purpose was to gather the valuable commodity of whale oil, which was used for lighting and other purposes. The flesh and other parts of the whale were merely discarded as invaluable and thrown overboard. After a period of time, whale numbers dropped, but the hunting continued right up into the 1970s, at which time a ban on whaling was enforced. That's our body paragraph 1. It's got 4 sentences there. Some of them are complex, some of them are compound. It's got good use of time references that make that flow of information smooth. It's got very good vocabulary here: complete extinction, exploit, valuable commodity, merely discarded, was enforced. So demonstrating that vocabulary range. And the argument is very clear. It's giving that background information of how whales were used and what's happening. All right, next one. Thankfully, in the 5 decades since, whale numbers have recovered considerably, especially among certain species such as humpback and minke whales. Whale watching has become a major tourism industry. However, certain cultures such as Japan, Norway, and the Inuit populations have a long history of hunting whales. These nations were not responsible for the mass depletion of whale numbers. They did not waste this resource. They used all parts of the whales and did not kill more than was needed. This was to ensure that whales would be valuable for future generations. All right, so now we have the other side of the coin, sustainable use of whales. So we've got the exploitation of whales in body paragraph 1, And now we've got the sustainable use in body paragraph 2. Again, good use of time references and signal words to add cohesion. And also look at the vocabulary: considerably, a major tourism industry, future generations, and so forth. So good language use, mass depletion. There's another one, showing off your vocabulary range. Therefore, I believe it's acceptable for certain countries to continue their traditions and hunt whales. There it is, reinforcing, going back to what you said in the introduction, mentioning sustainability, but in a different way. We just need to use our advanced technologies and understanding of the whale population to ensure that it's sustainable. All right, so we're linking our conclusion back to our introduction. We haven't repeated any information. It's 291 words, so we're within word limits. And in terms of criteria, the essay takes aside that it's acceptable to hunt whales sustainably and explains the reasoning behind the viewpoint, which really comes out in paragraph 2. It includes an opinion stated in the introduction, and then the logical development of the writer's viewpoint in the following paragraphs. And the conclusion recaps the main idea stated in the introduction, but in original words. It's well organized, as we saw, with the time references and signal words, which are underlined, and great range of academic vocabulary in italics. Now, what you need to do is study this type of pattern. Again, it takes practice, all right? Now, this obviously is a very high level and well thought out essay, but it is done within the 20-minute time frame. And you'll find that all our essays, one of the things that we did when we wrote these essays, as teachers, we put ourselves under pressure and we set time limits, and we wrote these essays within that 20-minute time frame. So very possible to do. Plan it properly, build your skills, build your knowledge, and you'll be able to write a well-structured essay. And lastly, remember, this is a vital part of the PTE writing test, the most heavily weighted section. So building your skills here will help you achieve your desired PTE result. All right, so remember, we said we have got 3 minutes planning, 15 minutes writing, and 2 minutes for our checklist. Just remember, in your checklist, does your letter meet the formal requirements of 200 to 300 words? Does it? Yes or no? Did you respond to the question prompt? Are you on topic? Does your essay flow smoothly due to good use of signal words? Did you use a range of structures, including simple, compound, and complex sentences? Remember, you can view all of that grammar in our Grammar and Vocabulary Clinic to make sure your grammar is sharp and up to speed. Did you apply correct punctuation? Did you pay attention to the details, articles and prepositions? Remember, mechanics are very important. Don't forget your countable and uncountable nouns. Did you use that wide range of vocabulary appropriate to the task question? I know a lot of you watching will have excellent vocabulary. This is your opportunity to use it. How many spelling errors did you make? Hopefully none. But that's what you're going to correct when you do your proofreading. All right, so that's the basics. How to write an essay. We've got some great tasks to look at on this website with excellent model letters. So get stuck in, write your letters. We look forward to helping you improve your writing skills.